Hello, my name's Mel, welcome to my world, and for those of you that are new to my channel, it's all about self-built camper vans and camper van related stuff, so if that's something that interests you, then please do consider subscribing to my channel. Now today's Wednesday, so this is Waffle on a Wednesday, where I answer your questions to the best of my ability, and I'm scratching down because I've got my camera down too low, so let's just fix that first. That's better. Right, let's crack on with this week's Waffle on a Wednesday. Now before we start, I'd like to say thank you to all my channel members and welcome to all my new channel members as well. I really do appreciate your encouragement and your support. It really does mean a lot to me, and I mean that sincerely. It does encourage me to carry on making these videos, so thank you. And also I'd like to say thank you to everybody that's bought stickers off me. I really do appreciate that as well. It's going a long way to helping me pay for my new laptop, so thank you. Now first of all, my regular viewers will recognise the intro to this video as being my old style of intro, and I've got a reason for that, and this is because of a comment that Apache left. He put simply hashtag my name's Mel, welcome to my world, petition to get the old legendary intro back. So there you go, Apache, that intro was just for you. Let's answer this question about solar panels from Ronan Galloway. He says, I know there's always a lot of discussion around solar panels, but being on a budget and looking at flexible panels as they seem to be much more reasonably priced, what would you say are the pros and cons of rigid versus flexible? Thanks as always. Well, Ronan, that's a question I quite often get asked, so I'm going to address this right now, and I'll tell you the simple answer is that most people that fit flexible solar panels glue them directly to their roof, and most people that have rigid solar panels fix them to a roof rack of some description. And the benefit of having rigid solar panels is that air can pass underneath them, meaning they don't get so hot in the summer. I know, sounds strange, right? But hear me out. So flexible panels, because they're flat on your roof, there's no air circulating underneath them, therefore the flexible solar panels tend to get hotter than rigid panels that are raised up off the roof. And believe it or not, when solar panels get hot, they actually become less efficient. I know, crazy, right? I mean, considering they're made to go in the sun, yeah, it don't make sense. But anyway, it's a fact that when solar panels get too hot, they do become less efficient. Therefore, you are better off using rigid solar panels and installing them slightly up off your roof so that air can pass underneath them, therefore keeping them cooler, making them more efficient. But saying that, I do think that flexible solar panels do have their place, especially if you've got a curved roof and you want to keep a low profile. Just bear in mind they are a little bit less efficient, especially in really hot weather, than rigid solar panels. And don't forget, there are three options of solar panels now available. There are flexible panels, rigid panels, and of course portable unfolding panels as well. And this summer I personally have been using those portable solar panels quite extensively. Whenever I'm parked up, I bust out this portable solar panel, and I've had them leaning up against the side of my van, depending on what side of my van's facing the sun, of course, and they have helped me out immensely during the summer, keeping my batteries charged up. So I do recommend, if your budget can stretch, get some portable solar panels. I highly recommend some of those as well. It's a good idea to have some of those in your arsenal, or maybe get a flexible panel and keep it somewhere safe in your van, and then when you are parked up, you can take the flexible panel out of your van and use it as a portable solar panel. Just simply lean it up against the side of your van and you'll be golden. So there you go, thanks for the great question and good luck with your van build. Just remember, keep it simple, keep it safe. Hi Mel, where did you get your kettle from? Rather cool, thanks, wondering tit. That's from Tina Mercer. Well Tina, I got this kettle, well actually I borrowed it off of Rebecca. And if you're interested in buying one of these kettles, I'm pretty sure Rebecca has put it in her corner in my Amazon storefront, which I will link down below. So if you click the link to my Amazon storefront, look at Rebecca's corner, you will find this kettle, and it does work on induction cooktops. Absolutely love this kettle. I think I'm going to have to give it back to Rebecca soon and buy one for myself once her van is built. So I'm pretty sure she's going to want this back. Thanks for the great question. Just watched the diesel heater video, and two things I don't understand. One, why do all these diesel heater vids show the filter after the pump? And two, why don't you mount the pump under the van? Just curious. And that comes from David Russell. Well, David, well spotted, you're absolutely right. The filter should be mounted between the fuel tank and the fuel pump. After all, you don't want a high pressure diesel going through that filter in case that filter bursts open. They're not very well constructed. So yeah, if you've got your fuel filter between the pump and the diesel heater, is most definitely in the wrong place, and I urge you to move it to the other side of the fuel pump. So it's on the low pressure side. Now, as for fitting my pump inside my van, the reason my pump and my diesel heater and my fuel tank are all inside my van is pure and simple. It's so it makes it easier for me to make videos for your enjoyment. And as a side note, a little while ago I made a video all about the super quiet fuel pump and whether or not they're any good. But since making that video, my super quiet fuel pump has actually become a lot quieter. So I've come up with this little theory, maybe once they wear in a little bit, after all there's a piston going in and out, up and down inside that fuel pump. And now that fuel pump's been running for quite some time, it's worn in and it's a much quieter fuel pump now. If I didn't have my wood burner on, I would demonstrate how quiet it is. Shall I do that? Actually, yeah, I'll turn my heater on briefly. I can guarantee you can't hear my pump. Bear in mind, my fuel pump is just down here. Right, we'll leave that ticking over while I look at another question. Now, here's a comment. I could probably make an entire video all about something I do actually know about and I've got experience of, and this comes from Northie, and he says, the van life BS has to end. Everyone and their dog is buying and converting vans. It's destroyed the used van market in the UK. It's made it impossible for tradie like myself to buy a 6-year-old van for a reasonable price. Well, Northie, that's a bit narrow-minded of you to think that because people are buying vans and converting them into camper vans, it's destroyed the market. It hasn't destroyed the market at all. In fact, it's probably made very little impact on the market. But the one thing that has had an impact on the second-hand van market is quite simply a higher demand for online shopping. Because more people are now doing their shopping online, it means there are more delivery drivers delivering those goods, and it's those delivery drivers that are self-employed, most of them, that need those vans to deliver those goods. So there's an increase in demand for vans, and as with any market, the more demand for something, the higher the prices will go. After all, it's all about supply and demand. It's the fundamentals of any business. And the other reason there's a shortage of vans is because a while ago there was a fire in China which burnt down a building that produces silicon chips. And I know this because I had to wait quite a while to get my camera, because the chips that go into vans also go in these cameras as well. And when Rebecca ordered her brand spanking new van, she had to wait almost a year to take delivery of it, because of the shortage of these chips. So please don't blame poor van dwellers like myself for the hike in van prices, because believe me, everyone in my community is also feeling the pinch and suffering as well, because the prices of vans, like you say, has gone through the roof. It's not just because of van dwellers like myself, it's purely supply and demand. I hope that puts your mind at rest. Thanks for the great comment anyway. And as you can hear, my diesel heater is now kicked in. You can probably hear the fan, but can you hear the pump? I certainly can't. And my pump is literally directly underneath my buttocks. You can't hear it at all. So there you go, that super quiet diesel pump really has got super quiet. Yeah, can't hear it. Now I'm going to turn the diesel heater off because it's getting really hot in here now. We'll just switch that off. Let's find another question. Now, talking about diesel heaters, Paul White would like to know if anybody knows where to get red diesel from in East Lothian, Scotland. Google searches are bringing me nothing. Well, Paul, try googling gas oil rather than red diesel, because gas oil is red diesel's official name, and hopefully you will find a garage selling gas oil. Like all forecourts, you will see a row of petrol and diesel pumps, but the gas oil pump will be separate. More often than not, it's hidden away in the corner of the forecourt, and along with the gas oil it will probably sell kerosene as well. And they don't usually tend to advertise the fact that they sell gas oil, so it's something you're just going to have to keep an eye out for. Just look for a solitary pump off to one side, and more than likely that will be the gas oil pump. I hope that answers your question, and good luck with your search. And as a side note, yes, you can use gas oil in your van to run your diesel heater. And sticking with the diesel heater theme, Terry here would like to know, hi Mel, great video. Can I ask, how have you connected your diesel heater to your Bluetti, please? Well Terry, my diesel heater is actually still connected to my main fuse bank. It's just the fact that my Bluetti is now feeding my main fuse bank and the rest of my van as well. And this is all made possible because the Bluetti AC200 Max has actually got a 30 amp 12 volt outlet. And it is that outlet that is actually powering my entire van. I do hope that makes sense, and if it doesn't make sense then check out this video up here. Everything is explained in that video. Thanks for the great question. And another question concerning my kettle. Mel, have you looked at a dedicated electric kettle rather than using an induction cooktop? And that comes from Mark. Bye Jack. No Mark, the reason I use an induction cooktop kettle is because this can be used on induction cooktop and it can also be used on gas as well. Whereas if I had a dedicated electric kettle, I wouldn't be able to use that on gas. And if I was to buy a dedicated electric kettle, it means then I would have two kettles. And this is a camper van, we don't have room for two kettles, just the one will suffice. I hope that answers that question. Hey Bluetti, I need a battery bank too, smiley face. And that comes from Roos Bay Bruce. Good luck Bruce, can't say I didn't try for you mate. So I get this comment quite often whenever I mention power packs in a van, whether it be Bluetti or Jackery or any of the other brands that I have featured on my channel. And this comes from George Morgan. I'm not having a dig at you George, by the way, I'm just using your message as an example because I do get this all the time. Far too expensive, especially if you've got to buy them out of your hard-earned cash. True, I don't actually buy those power packs, I do get gifted them by the companies so that I can do video reviews. Although those companies do not pay me to make those video reviews. So I can pretty much say what I like about them, which will become apparent in the next power pack video that I make. Yeah, don't miss that. Anyway, they are an expensive bit of kit, but not everybody has the ability to wire up a complete 12 volt solar array in their camper van, especially when it comes to adding the 240 volt inverters as well. That's a lot of wiring, a lot of technical stuff going on there, and if you're not careful you could in fact do it all wrong and end up causing a fire and burning your camper van to the ground. So for that reason, quite a few people out there don't want to do their own electrics, and having something like the Bluetti AC200 Max, it eliminates all of that risk. After all, it is a quite simple plug in and play system. Although the way I've got it set up in my van does seem a little bit complicated, it's still a lot simpler to have one of those power packs in your van than it is to wire up a whole complete system yourself. And if you haven't got the confidence to wire up a system yourself in your van, the chances are you're going to pay someone else to do it for you. So when you consider the labour charges as well, by installing something like that, it definitely works out cheaper to buy a Bluetti AC200 Max than it would do if you used to buy all the individual components and then pay someone to install it in your van. And for that reason I do think they do have a place in the market, and that's why I don't mind promoting Bluetti AC200 Max. After all, that is exactly what is running my camper van right now, and I am more than happy with it. And of course, if anything was to happen to my van, I can remove the entire electrical system of my van quite simply by just unplugging it. You couldn't do that with a DIY system, that's for sure. And if anyone out there has got any views or opinions on this, then please do feel free to leave your views and opinions in the comments section of this video. After all, that's why it's there. And if you've got any questions for me, please start that question with hashtag waffle on a Wednesday followed by your question. That way it makes it a lot easier for me to find your questions. And if you are interested on how I installed the Bluetti AC200 Max into my van, then watch this video up here, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, ta-da for now.